Hey guys, what's up? So, Merry Christmas to ya. Now, it isn't actually Christmas because I'm filming this ahead of time. I'm actually filming a review ahead of time because this one I want to kind of edit it a bit better and make it a little more extravagant. So, yeah. Basically, this is the Christmas special review, and this Christmas special is going to be, it's going to be of a movie that not a lot of people have seen, or even heard of. It's a movie that, I think is pretty underrated and lesser known, and not many people have seen. No, I'm not talking about Gremlins. I'm talking about the obvious ripoff of Gremlins, Elves.
Say here, the Elf lucha.
Don't start that again. You and your damn elves. I'm sick of it.
It's so bad that apparently it's never had a DVD release. So I have a bootleg of it from a VHS transfer, which is the best transfer I could find, and it's still kind of crappy. Now, I would ignore this because I would usually ignore a film like this because of obvious reasons. It's another ripoff of Gremlins, and I mean, I didn't really like the first Ghoulies movie that much. I didn't like Hobgoblins. I didn't like the first Troll movie. The second one is absolute gold. You know, these Gremlins ripoffs are usually pretty spotty for me. I don't usually end up enjoying them. However, this one is a near perfect bad movie. If you are a bad movie fan and you have yet to hear of this film, then I suggest you go out and try and find it. The basic plot of this movie, and this is me being legitimate, I'm not trying to make a joke or anything. The basic plot of this movie is that in World War II, a bunch of Nazis decided they were going to make a master race of Nazi elf-human hybrids, and they needed to create one, like, kind of atom for the race, and then they needed to have it mate with a virgin woman, with a virgin female human, in order to give birth to a master race of elf Nazis. This also had something to do with, and the fact is, they created these elves in laboratories. Like they fucking bred these things into existence. They genetically spliced these things into existence, which is the most interesting part, because according to this movie, these creatures also have connections to both the Bible and the occult as well, although it's still complicated. Like, I know that like at one point Hitler became obsessed with the occult and stuff like that, but Nazi, elf soldiers is a bit ridiculous even for him. Yet they tried to make one, and now it's like the late 80s, and one of them comes back, and I should mention, this movie is called Elves, and the tagline for it is they don't work for Santa anymore, yet in this movie they never worked for Santa, and they're technically not really elves, they're kind of supernatural science fiction creatures that were kind of bred into existence, and they look more like goblins than they do elves. And I should also mention that this movie is just so bizarre. If you couldn't tell by that short description, which I'm not even done with yet, it is extremely bizarre. The only thing that can stop these elves is the virgin that they're after, and a mall Santa who is played by Dan Haggerty. A mall Santa who is a chain-smoking ex-detective, who is also, like, I guess a good, like a sharpshooter and shit like that. This is the plot of the movie. Another thing I should mention is this movie's called Elves, and there's not multiple elves. There's one. There's one elf in this entire movie. I don't know where to fucking start. I guess I'll start with the plot, even though I just gave you a basic rundown, but this movie branches off into so many bizarre subplots. I would compare it to the classic shot on 8mm film Things, because Things is horrifically incoherent and a mess. This film is very similar, except it's made on a better budget and it still has a somewhat cohesive plot. But there are many subplots, stuff about, there's subplots about incest.
What are you doing?
You pervert! I'm not a pervert. I like seeing naked girls.
I'm your fucking sister.
Yeah, and you've got fucking big tits, and I'm gonna tell everybody I saw 'em.
And Santa being a potential, one of the previous months, Santa being a potential rapist.
Ho, ho, ho. And what do you want for Christmas, little girl?
For it not to be Christmas.
Why?
I hate snow. Can you make it snow?
Oral.
What?
Santa said oral.
There's a subplot about the main character and her friends partying in the mall after it's closed.
I can't wait until tomorrow night.
Are you afraid of getting in trouble?
What are they gonna do, fire me? Can't keep the money anyway. Just my tips. Hey guys, it's almost break. Let's go goof on Santa. I've been waiting for this all day. Cool.
There's a subplot about the Nazis coming back to make sure that all this happens the way it's supposed to.
And his angel shall rise to impede us.
Yeah. And this is the only movie where you'll hear the lines,
When there is no more room in hell, the elves will walk the earth.
and
I want to know the connection between the elves and the Nazis.
holy shit, is this movie just crazy. The main thing that keeps this movie entertaining constantly is Dan Haggerty's character.
I'm sorry I brought you back. I didn't understand. I'm not going to give up.
911, thank you.
Name! Why? Describe the creatures that you saw.
Would you believe me? All right. It was about 2 feet tall, and it was a troll, just like Kirsten said.
Are you positive?
Hey, look, why don't you tell me something? You tell me here what's going on. You seem to know everything that's going on around here.
You do not understand the nature of the forces here. They could destroy you.
What forces? Who's going to destroy me?
I didn't know what was going on. I wish Dad were here. He'd know what to do.
You remind me of your father. You're a lot like him.
I am?
You're attractive. You're bright. You're independent. Impulsive. Self-centered. Narcissistic. And I know exactly what's been going on.
The bizarre plot which keeps changing and evolving into something, just into worse and worse things as it goes down the line.
You're insane!
But Kirsten, I love you. You're beautiful and you're perfect and I love you.
No!
And some of the acting
Why do you hate me so much?
and the very rubbery looking elf that doesn't look like a fucking elf at all. the fact that the movie's called Elves and there's only one elf, the fact that a character cuts their hand when picking up a candle that doesn't have any glass on it or anything.
The candle.
So I guess you can go ahead and assume just right now that the acting is not terrible, but it's pretty bad. The writing is probably the shining turd of this film, the big thing in this film that keeps it really interesting is the dialogue and the story, which is all involved with the writing. It's not well written. The effects are bad. The camera work is okay. The lighting is okay. The music is okay. It's not good at building tension. There's almost no tension whatsoever. And there's even, I left this out, but there's even a subplot about the main character's mother killing the main character's cat for almost no reason. Like, literally, almost no reason at all. She just puts the cat in a pillowcase and drowns it.
If you want to know, I killed the cat. The raccoon may have dragged it to the window, but I killed it.
And that's it. And then the main character maybe talks about it once or twice and then never mentions it again. It's one of those kinds of movies. There's just something about it. There's just something about a movie this fucking phenomenally bad. Like, I wouldn't say it is like Troll 2 levels of bad movie love, of bad movie enjoyment, but it's definitely close. I mean, it's not as, bad because of production problems or because of the low budget or because there was a language barrier between the cast and the directors and writers. It was just bad because the director, I guess, apparently expected everybody on the set and everybody that was going to see the film to take it 100% seriously, because the film is played like 100% serious. It does not fall under a comedy film at all. I mean, I'm sure it falls under unintentional comedy, but it is not done on purpose. It is obvious that this is not, that it is this ridiculous, and it's supposed to be serious on purpose so it can be funny. There's no way that is possible. The director must have been fucking high, because this plot makes no sense, and he expected people to, make sense out of a plot, even though it's a film about Nazi elves.
I want to know the connection between the elves and the Nazis.
Amongst other things, with subplots again about incest and...
The man in the study is your grandfather. And your father!
Killing cats and breaking into malls and mall Santas and fucking blowing up cars and toting guns, and it's just so bad. And it's not like it's a bad movie from like an effects standpoint or like a camera or from like certain standpoints. Like, it's not like I would say again the Thing's level of bad, but it is damn close with its incoherent plot and nonsensical storylines, and nonsensical subplots that go nowhere. I'm glad I waited until the Christmas season to watch this movie. I was going to watch it over the summer because I found out about it then, but I decided to wait, and really glad I watched this one. I should go ahead and say that this movie apparently received an R rating when it had a small theatrical release, but somehow it got down to a PG-13 rating when it was released on VHS, I guess. It's really not that bad gore-wise. The gore meter's probably from something like Nosferatu to something like Peter Jackson's Brain Dead. It's probably a 2. Like, there's not much blood or gore in this film. The one thing that keeps it entertaining throughout is the bad acting and writing and nonsensical storylines and fucking absolutely phenomenally terrible dialogue. There is just, I don't think I can say anything else about this movie other than if you are a bad movie aficionado and you have yet to see this one, see it, because it is a definite gem amongst bad movies. Sure, it's not the most entertaining, like it's not constant. It doesn't constantly have something going on, because it does get a little boring here and there. But then again, certain lines of dialogue show up in the film, and they become just too perfect for words. If I were to have to rate this film, probably 3, maybe 3.5 out of 5. And I would also like to just mention again that I rate films based on how entertaining or interesting or informative they are. I'd also just like to mention that this film will be going on my yearly horror movie like kind of calendar watch list of things I watch around the year at certain times because they're seasonal horror films. It's definitely going on there with Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Jack Frost, and Santa's Sleigh, and Don't Open Till Christmas, and Black Christmas. It's definitely going on that list. And I would also like to say that I would compare this film to the classic splatter zombie flick, Burial Ground: Nights of Terror. Ooh. Because these two movies have a couple things in common. First of all, they're both horror movies. Second of all, they're both low-budget horror movies that not a lot of people have seen. And third, they both contain subplots about incest and absolutely ridiculous subplots and or like plot devices. I think I'd equally recommend both of these movies. This kind of turned into a review of Burial Ground, but I don't know. There's just something about There's something about Elves that made me think of this one. So I thought I'd just kind of add that in. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. You know the fucking deal. I guess I'm gonna have to upload this in about 19 days. So I'm gonna get to editing.